Okay, hey guys, Cosmic Serpent here. So, I wanted to talk about in this video, as you can see the title, um, another aspect of chaos magic that a lot of us are, um, I've had questions about, and a lot of us are actually cultivating our own paths regarding this. But I wanted to talk a little bit today about servitors, tulpas, egregores, thought forms. So, a lot of us have very active imaginations, and you have to realize that thoughts are things. And we say this, you can say it a million times, but until you really realize the fact that as you speak, you create, and the words that you actually say will be embedded in you in some way, encoded in your DNA, embedded in your subconscious, and you will form beliefs based surrounding those words, no matter how negative or positive they are. When you intend something, when you have an intention behind something, when you say it in the moment, if you don't do work to actively remove that, it's going to be seated inside of you. So that's how we create these negative self images, and how these thought forms get fuel. And what I mean by that, let me just start from the beginning. So, a thought form is an energetic creation from you, from yourself. It's basically a thought bubble. We'll put it that way. I'll need some notes on that. So, one thing that I'll say about thought forms is that in the intentional creation of them, to understand the nature of how our brain actually works and how our brain correlates to other parts of our body and the systems that it controls is really important as well. So, thought forms can be used and programmed for any specific reason, any specific task. The importance is to make it real for you, and I'll go through some steps of how you can do that in a psychological model, and also to solidify it within your existence, make it concrete, give it something, you know, a talisman, a candle, something, or not, if you know that you have the mental power to be able to focus, or um, like I said, bringing it into your existence some way, a sigil, and also energetic food. So you have to decide. So, first couple steps with making a thought form or creating a thought form, a purposeful thought form. We want to take the example of creating a thought form that will support your memory. So you want to be able to remember things. Um, I use this because I have one myself that is supportive of memory and supportive of the functions that I need to accomplish throughout the week. And it has been extremely effective. As I feed her, she feeds me. So, first steps in creating thought forms. First steps. So, we have to give this thought form a shape in order to create something that you're going to be able to connect with on a deep level, and to give it a root in your subconscious so that you have a tether to it, so you can energetically interact with it. You can then, as you go on, you'll start to be able to communicate with it a lot more strongly. But to energetically connect with it, at least to feed it in the beginning, you have to have something that you connect with, and that has and that's a body. So we want to give it form. You can use the example of a thought form that I created for myself some time ago, who was my personal assistant. My personal assistant. So she is in the form of a beautiful woman, and she is on point. She carries herself well, but she also is programmed to feed off my productivity. So as is effective as I am during the day, she is in supporting me in that. So her food was my productivity. So I would create lists, things like that, to be able to get things done throughout the day, to be able to um, knock things off of my list. Time management was a big issue for me in the beginning, and I really wanted some type of an energetic source that would help me. So I created this thought form that would be my constant reminder that you need to be on time, you need to be early, you need to be, if you're not early, you're late already. This thing. I flow, so a lot of times I'm late, but I created this thought form to be able to give me an anchor in my productivity and my progress. So I created a body for her, and then I gave her a personality. So she became this thing. So, with the psychological model, adhering to these notions also just creates more and more strength for you and for your mind. So once she had her body and her personality, I gave her a place to rest, and it grew from there. A lot of my thought forms develop inside of talismans, inside of candles, inside of altar spaces or altar pieces, and then they gradually evolve into not needing to live there. A lot of them live on the astral. So a lot of them are astral. They basically live there. I create astral altars that I revisit constantly. The more that you revisit them, the stronger that they'll become. So, astral altars, and you can link your thought forms to the altars. They live there. What they eat, what you feed them, if it's just attention, if you just go visit them and breeze through to say, hey guys, how you doing? Feed them, send them off to do whatever you want them to do. They have a tether. So, really important. Um, I am really, really intrigued by the notion of creating thought forms and servitors for your magical purposes, because it speaks directly to the fact that we as humans are inherent creators. We are that machine that will be able to create whatever it is that we need out of need. Whatever it is that we require out of need. And thought forms are one of those things. So thought forms on the astral, thought forms on in talismans and coins and pieces of jewelry, rings, whatever you want to do with that particular energy that can transform, like I said, into something that's just in the mind or just on the astral, and you don't need the earthly tether anymore. So, another thing that I have experienced in creating magical thought forms, that Michael Cunningham book that we most of us started out with, it does talk about sigilling, and sigils are probably my favorite form, one of my favorite forms of magic and of influence and of bending will and creating change for my benefit. So sigilling is really, really one of it. For some, it's an art form. For some, it becomes a kind of tactical way to bring about the change that they want to see. For some, it becomes a voice. Sigilling can be most magic is created out of need. Most things that we do are created because we have a need for something that we're not able to reach in a mundane fashion. It's not that magic is for those that want money but can't go out and get a job. They want to be able to do it in their way. And most people that practice have skills to be able to do it that way. So, most of us do. Um, Sigilling is just that. So sigilling is also an outcry for change because it's an inception of the mind. It's a disruption of the normal thought process. It's a normal of the normal thought patterns. Sigilling is kind of guerrilla warfare on the mind of others, and it's magic in a raw form. So I love that. I love the fact that you can transform a an idea into a symbol, and then in turn use that symbol to be able to influence another's um, perspective on whatever it is you want. You have to watch your mind when you're creating sigils because it's going to directly influence that person. So, what I mean by sigils, if you're watching this and you're like, what the hell is a sigil? It is a condensed form of an idea in